Okay, this is Prophet Robert Nalaby coming at you today, and I want to talk about something that I heard somebody else talking about. This seems to be really in the news cycle pretty heavy. I don't think I want to address all of these things, but I want to address this Lyor Cohen issue, who was on the Breakfast Club with Charlemagne, who calls himself the God. And I want to use this as a teaching lesson, okay? And I want to show you all why the curses are so heavy on us. For seemingly benign reasons. And these reasons have become benign in our mind because we are desensitized. That's it. They really not benign, but we have conditioned to believe that they are benign. You see, while in this captivity. So, without further ado, let's get right into it.
And just speak to the people for a little while.
I guess I should have hooked my Beats Pill up. I always forget that. Hopefully this plays good. The audio quality will be good. Melchizedek.
I was just watching a interview with Lyor Cohen, and that was the Breakfast Club interview. If anyone does not know who Lyor Cohen is, basically he is a top music executive in America, and particularly he is most influential. And
Now, what I want you all to do, I want you all to listen very carefully to the complaints that she has, the nature of the complaints she has. Okay?
has basically conquered the sphere of influence as far as hip hop. You don't really see him having the same power over other parts of the culture, but as far as hip hop, he has been one of those people who has really consolidated power. He's really very much in the background. You don't really hear from him. However, I have heard a lot of times as I was coming up that the music industry and Hollywood and entertainment industry, they say that they're ran by Jewish people who really stay behind the scenes. He's one of the people who people have used as an example as someone who's actually Jewish, and he really is behind the scenes. However, supposedly he's calling so many shots and really is a really powerful figure. But although he's Jewish, he's a powerful figure in hip hop. We know that hip hop primarily is an African music form. It is a form that came out of Africans who were being oppressed, being politically just facing political genocide really in the 70s and 80s, and that's really where it came from. And that to this day, even though the music industry is very different, even though the music industry is not as potent and it's certainly not as black as far as mainstream music, you don't hear the same messages pertaining to African people. You don't hear this.
Let me drop some game on y'all and let you know why hip hop is a curse to all of our people. First of all, it's not conscious music. If it's not waking up to us to the consciousness of who we really are, it's a Jedi mind trick. Hip hop is not waking us up to the consciousness that we're Israelites. It's not. And to try to make it into that, like so many are, I question it. Hip hop was never created, even when it was underground, to wake us up to who we were. That's how you know it's a curse. So it looks like everything that keeps us away from our identity and the identity of our relationship to our Elohim, our power, guess what? It's gonna default to the curse mode. It is. I don't care how positive it is. I don't care how positive you think it is. That's that conditioning I was mentioning earlier in this video. If it's not bringing us back to our power, his character, his commandments, statutes, and laws, which are a transcript of his character, it's a curse. That's why all of our talk as African people, as black people, all of that stuff is a curse to us. Why? Because it keeps us insulated from our consciousness with our power. So it's a curse. Whether it's athletics, whether it's athletics, economic empowerment, education, health, relationships, social equity, it's a curse to us because we're going to tout it as black empowerment, African spiritualism, all this kind of stuff. It's a curse to us. Anything that we create as black people, as Africans, guess what? It's going to be a curse. And guess who's going to get the upper hand of it? All of our enemies. See, we are actually putting all of our power and creativity in the hands of our enemy by insulating ourselves away from our consciousness that we are the Israelites, the chosen people of the Most High, above all nations that are upon the face of the earth. So I know you're used to calling yourself black. You're used to calling yourself African American. And let me say this. If you say that just to get people to understand, that's one thing. But when you start thinking that you're that, and you're not educating people about who you really are, and you're afraid to talk about it, you're afraid to mention it, guess what? You're the problem. Listen to this lovely young lady here.
The same.
She's got this problem.
Lifestyle reflection, even just like listening to music and feeling like, oh, this is what life is like for black people. You might not hear that nowadays. You might hear, if you turn on the radio or listen to mainstream music, you might hear a lot of things about drugs. You might hear a lot of things about strippers. You might hear a lot of things that may not necessarily reflect the majority of African people in the United States. However, Historically, hip hop was that engine. Hip hop was that tool. Hip hop was the reflection of the culture, the reflection of African people who have been here for over 500 years and have been enslaved and been made
You see
a
that?
victim of the system. It was a reflection.
She said it's a reflection of African people. That's what hip hop is. Well, guess what? That's the problem. The Most High want to see. There is something very important about acknowledging yourself as a Israelite. Yashra'al. Something very important with that. It keeps you what? In line with your relationship with your power. You see? When you acknowledge yourself as black, as subjective as black and African American, African, that's us basically rebelling against the Most High, even if it's in ignorance. Because as long as we've been here, we should know that we're not Africans. As many Bible scholars, black Bible so-called black Bible scholars we got, we should know that we're not. We should know that we're the Israelites. Like Psalms 83 talks about, the hidden ones. So as long as we acknowledge ourselves as African Americans and blacks, and everything we create under the heading of those things, absolutely, all that stuff is a waste of time. That's why voting for Obama was a waste of time. We voted for him as what? Black people. We wanted a black president. And then the guy's not even us. He's not even us. And you could tell that was a curse. Instead of putting a black light on the White House, he painted the whole. He put the homosexual rainbow light on the White House. See, that's just the Most High mocking us. That's the Most High mocking us. We tried to make him the first black president, and guess what? The Most High showed his real colors, and he's the first gay president who just happened to be married. Who just happens to be married and have children. Don't think that there's no people out there that are married and have children and they're homosexuals. So they're bisexuals. Don't think that. If Obama ran for office, was possible for Obama to run for office again, so-called the people that called themselves black people in African America, they would tear down the door to vote for him again. And the same thing with hip hop. Hip hop is a curse. It's just a curse. Because you got to look at where it came from. You can't not bring new wine out of old bottles. You can't put new wines in old bottles. You just can't do it. You can't have fresh water and salt water together coming out the same fountain. You can't do it. So it's really interesting to see Israelites try to turn hip hop into something for Israelites. It's just interesting to do that. I know we like having a good time. I know we like turning up, but there's so much creativity in being an Israelite. You don't have to copy what they're doing. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with rapping, but labeling it hip hop, no, let's just stay away from that. Let's let white people own that. Let's let these Caucasians and all our enemies own that. Let them own that. Because if you start calling this stuff hip hop, guess what? Hebrew is hip hop. Guess who's going in hands is going to be in? It's going to be in the hands of white mommy and white daddy. You notice that everything that we come up as African American and as black people ends up in the hands of white people, and they end up dominating it, ruling it, and calling the shots on who's going to do it and who's not going to do it. You notice that? Leave that stuff alone. Let our brothers and sisters who created that genre of music, let them have it. Because in a minute, all of our enemies are going to, guess what? They're going to totally own all of hip hop. From everything. From music to culture to dress to everything. Just like they've done everything else we've ever done. And I see why the Most High gives all our inventions to our enemies. I see why he do it. Because we create things as black people. We don't create things as Israelites. People serving the Most High. Keeping his commandments, statutes, and laws. We don't create stuff out of that. We don't go to work to support the kingdom. An Israelite family. We just go to support the black family. I want you to listen to more of what she says, because a lot of this thinking is endemic among our people.
Of what we deal with here. And although this has nothing to do with the Jewish struggle, a lot of people feel like, how is it that you're able to monopolize off of our struggle? How is it that although we are the primary talent, even though, these people...
Look at this, y'all. I'm answering her question. How is it that we are the primary talent, but you own it? Well, that's in the Bible. The Bible says that's exactly what's going to happen when we do things. And when we don't diligently hearken unto the voice. Deuteronomy 28:15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy power, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake you. Yeah, the curses is a group of people too. It's circumstances, that's true, but it's also people, nations that are our enemies. They are the personification of our curses. Cursed shalt thou be in the city, cursed shalt thou be in the field, even in the hip hop field. You're going to be cursed there. Why? Because first of all, you created it out of being what? Black. Out of being what? Egyptian. Out of being what? African. African spirituality. So cursed shall you be in basket and in store. So all the catalog of music that you made, it's going to even be cursed. I don't care how popular it was. I don't care how many billions of dollars it's worth. All your catalog of music is going to be cursed. Look at Sam Cooke, Tupac, Biggie, Prince, Michael Jackson. Guess who's going to own all their catalogs, y'all? Our enemies. All the music that Michael Jackson was producing, he didn't produce that stuff as an Israelite. He produced it as an African American who wanted to be white. Same thing with Prince. Sam Cooke, he created all his music out of what? Being a black man. It's cursed. It's doomed. Little Richard. All of those people. Charlie Wilson. The Gap Band. Everything that we create as black and Africans. See, look at this. When you create stuff as an African or African American and a black, the connotation that goes with that is I'm creating this as an African American, Black American. In other words, you are cryptically stating that you're creating it for your master. Listen to me. In a cryptic way, you are implying that you're creating this for your master, white mommy, white daddy. So since you created it for him, guess what? They end up owning it because you calling them mama, daddy by saying you are an African American, or you an African, or you are black. Those are words that are euphemism for I'm still a slave. Well, since you're still a slave and a slave don't own anything, you don't supposed to own anything. You got to give it you got to default to giving everything that you create to white daddy. And we shouldn't be mad at that because the Bible says that's what was supposed to happen. Your life, they are your gods in captivity. When I say gods, I mean rulers and judges in captivity. So, see, black power is, when I hear this word black power, I want to tell you what that really means. Black power is a euphemism for saying I'm creating it for white daddy. I don't care if that's not what you mean. It don't matter what you mean. It matter what the results are based on scriptures. When you say you got black power, you're defying your power. When you say that you have black power, you're saying, in essence, that you have more power working for white daddy than for the power that created the heaven and earth, the Elohim of Israel. That's what black power really means. And as conscious as all these black power groups are, they don't know that. They ain't conscious enough to know that. You know why? Because that's spirit. I'm talking spiritual talk to you right now. And this is over their heads. Black power, black power. And the more militant people are with black power, the more that they are in subjection to white daddy and more militant against the God of Israel. You see how that works? You see how Satan does stuff? You got people like Sarah Suit Seti, black power, black power, black power, black power. And he just sing like a pit bull, black power. All he don't know what he's really is advocating is white power. Black power, this black consciousness, black power thing, guess what it really is? It's white power. Because everything you do under the moniker of black power, guess what the Bible says is who's going to be given to and credited with? White daddy and mommy. They're going to continue to rule over you as long as you do things in black power. Because black power is in defiance against the power of Israel. It's against the power. We got to acknowledge ourselves as Israelites. Tell your children that they are Israelites. Hammer that in them that they are Israelites. Hammer that in them that the Most High God that created heaven and earth is their God. And none else. Hammer that into your children's head. Get them away from this African American stuff. Don't even mark that on the application. Put other. That's what you do. And the Most High is going to bless you. Let's keep listening to this sister.
Now are certainly not as talented as people before, and certainly aren't doing things necessarily pertaining to black people like other rappers did in the 90s and the 80s. But still, the primary people who are mainstream rappers are still black people. And primarily it is our talent that is being exploited. And that leads a lot of people, if you read the
y'all, we're exploiting ourselves. No nation would have any power over us if we diligently hearken unto the voice. I really believe that even in captivity, we would have way more autonomy than we have now. If we was but we're not, y'all. Israelites are becoming more blacker, more African American than we've ever become since we've been here. Because we think that that's our solution. That's always been the problem. And it's always been symptomatic of the larger issue that we don't want the Most High ruling over us. Not out of this Bible. I want to tell y'all something. A lot of people that's tired of oppression, guess what they're not tired of? They're not tired of not following the Most High. They're not tired of that. They're like, oh no, if it's anything with the Most High, the God of Israel, count me out. Okay, there you go. That's your curse.
Comment section on the Breakfast Club interview, a lot of people are basically saying, hey, like, how is it that he's able to make money off of our culture? How is it that he's able to capitalize off of our culture? He's a culture vulture.
And see, we call them culture vultures, but guess what? We are actually the ones that's fueling the fire to make them culture vultures by not acknowledging that we're Israelites, by not even worshiping the Most High. We don't even worship God anymore like we used to as Christians. We should have went on from Christianity and become Israelites. We should have grew out of that. A lot of us are hunkering down on Christianity.
And all of these things are, I think, very true. And any intelligent people would ask those questions. That's the thing. They'll try to make you feel like you're wrong for thinking this or feeling this way, but you would never see African people having the primary financial interest in gold, because gold primarily is something that's played by white males. You would never see them have their talent being used to profit someone who's not themselves. You would never see anyone, an Asian.
See, our people really don't know why we at the bottom, how we're at the bottom, and how to get away. We really don't know. None of our leaders know. Actually, our leaders are the ones that's keeping us at the bottom. What's that? Jeremiah 31. Let me see. At the same time, saith Yahuwah, will I be the God of all the families of Israel, not African Americans, not black, stop that. Not Egyptians and Egyptologists and RBGs and Moors. It says, at that time, I shall be the God of all the families of Israel, Yashraal. Like the Bible tells us in Genesis chapter 32, verse 28. Thus saith Yahuwah, the people which were left of the sword found grace in the wilderness. Even Israel, not even black people, not even Americans, no.
A primarily Asian sport, a primarily Middle Eastern sport. Any intelligent people would not allow you to make money, not allow you to make the profit.
We're not intelligent.
It's just a common sense thing. If I'm the one that's talented in this, then that means that I have a monopoly on this. So the fact that African people have the primary talent as far as hip hop and rap, that automatically, as if we're an intelligent people, should mean that we have a monopoly on this particular type of music.
Let me say this too. Anytime Israelite creates something and they do it under the moniker of a black person, under the heading of being a black person or an Israelite, it always defaults to something wicked. It always defaults to something wicked. I don't care how wholesome it is, it's going to default to something wicked. Because what we're going to do is use the money to become what? More stable Americans. Have more stable relationships with our oppressors. That's all. That's how you know it's going to default to wickedness. We're not going to use it to default to become closer to the Most High, to get our people closer to the Most High, and to get our families more holy. We're not going to do that so we can obey his commandments and statutes and laws. We're not going to do that. It's going to always default to something wicked. Because why? You created it as something wicked, which is what? Black, African American, Pan-Africanness, and all this stupid stuff. None of that stuff is conscious. All the conscience movements that are among our people, Nation of Islam, all that stuff that's supposed to be consciousness, guess what it is? It is a Jedi mind trick to hide us from our real consciousness as Israelites. Boy, I'm breaking this down today. Good grief. I wish somebody was teaching this to me when I was 3.
Music, but it doesn't for some reason. It means that we're getting used, we're getting manipulated by people. So our talent is not profiting us. Our talent, and many times, is actually hurting us because a lot of these people who are pushed in front of the culture.
That's a real good point. Let me play that over.
As far as hip hop and rap, that automatically, as if we're an intelligent people, should mean that we have a monopoly on this particular type of music. But it doesn't for some reason. It means that we're getting used, we're getting manipulated by.
Didn't the curses say that we're going to get used and we're going to be below and not above? What's this sister's name? Africa? What? Africa. African. See? Africa. Her name is Africa. This girl's an Israelite. But she's living like an African. When you live as an African, you have to live as a cursed people. When you live as a black, you have to live as a cursed people. Acknowledging yourself as such. You have to be living as a cursed person. You're a cursed person. Lovely sister. Cursed. Cursed. And it's really sad.
By people, so our talent is not profiting us. Our talent, and many times, is actually hurting us.
Let me say this again. When you do anything as an African American, a Pan-African, a Nation of Islam, a Muslim, and all this kind of stuff, and you are one of the DOAs, descendants of slaves, you're automatically doing something that's cursed. You're automatically doing something that's creating, getting you further away from salvation. Even if you invented an innovative baby bottle, it's a curse. I don't care how rich you get off of it. You're cursed. You're cursed. Your family's not going to benefit from that. You might benefit from it, maybe, but you're cursed because you created it as an African American.
Because a lot of these people who are pushed in front of the culture are not actually saying things to strengthen the black community, saying things to build the black community. They're certainly not putting their money back into the black community, because a lot of these rappers will go and take that money and spend it outside of the black community, because frankly, spending money in the black community is not seen as lucrative. It's not seen as stunting. The stunting thing to do is to get a Rolls Royce. The stunting thing to do is to flash something that is from outside of your community. So the fact that the art form not only is being profited by us, but actually in many ways is being used to destroy us, even as far as the drug pushing. I mean, you got people pushing pills on teenagers, and we're listening to this, and it becomes normalized in our mind that we're taking pills, we're taking syrup, we're taking all these things, and those teenagers, if you don't know, start asking questions if they're not using.
Let me say, all these things have become normalized in our minds because we don't know who we are. We're fighting. We're trying to fight white people as black people. Well, there's no power in that. There's absolutely no power in fighting white people as a pseudonym of yourself. There's no power in that. That's why there's no unity among Israelites. Because most of us think we're black and African American, Moors and Muslims. It's really sad.
Stuff. They know someone certainly who black teenagers. They know someone who is using things. So again, it's not just that we don't control it. It's actually being used as a tool and a vehicle to destroy us and to destroy political dissent that once was prevalent in hip hop. Once upon a time, when you had a public enemy, that was what hip hop was used for. Now it's being used for a reverse role, and people are rightfully angry. My sentiment and why I used to get really angry at these things. And first you get angry at the person you're looking at, and I still did feel angry, to be honest, at certain points in the interview, because just the arrogance of these people outside of our culture who feel so entitled to their position. That it's always going to strike a chord, no matter how much you understand that this is normal for these people, no matter how much you understand that this has been going on for a long time. I mean, slavery again. What was slavery? Slavery was literally taking the talents of other people, taking the hard work of other people, and profiting from it. So it's not like this is a different relationship. Even as far as these drugs.
And the other thing, the reason why we really can't get any power over our enemies, because we process the information of why we're in captivity in the wrong way. Why? Of course, because we think we're black, we think we're African. And so the mental process that you have to go through to come to certain conclusions is always going to be off. Because why? You're starting at the wrong point by thinking that you're black, or you're African, or you're American, or you're African American, or you whatever, a Moor, and all these kinds of things. The only thing that you really are is what the Most High said that you are. Where in the Bible do it say that we are Moors? Well, Moor just mean black. Well, where in the Bible do the Most High call us black as a nation? Nowhere. Nowhere, y'all. So we got to stay away from that kind of stuff. The reason why they were able to take us captive is because we didn't want to be Israelites. Even when we knew we were Israelites, we didn't want to be Israelites. And so now we are forgotten. So look at this. Jeremiah chapter 14. Judah mourneth, the gates thereof languish. Our leaders languish, the gates. They are black unto the ground. And the cry of Jerusalem is gone up. One thing I love about the book of Judges, let's go to Judges chapter 5. Let's go to Judges. Look at this, y'all. Let's look at chapter 4. Chapter 4. And the children of Israel did evil in the sight of Yahuwah, and Ehud was dead, And the Lord sold them into the hand of Jabin, king of Canaan, that reigned in Hazor, the captain of whose host was Sierra, which dwelt in Hazareth of the Gentiles. And the children of Israel, now watch this, and the children of Israel, not Moors, not African American, not black people, not RBG, not Nation of Islam. No, and the children of Israel cried unto Yahuwah. First of all, they cried to the right person. They weren't crying to no white Jesus or a black Jesus. Yeah, let that sink in. For he had 900 chariots of iron, and 20 years he mightily oppressed the children of Israel. And Deborah, a prophetess, the wife of Lipidoth, she judged Israel at the time. Guess what this means, y'all? A rebellion was about to take place. Why? Because the children of Israel cried. They cried as Israelites. They didn't cry as nothing else. Look at Judges chapter 5. Then sang Deborah and Barak. Let's go to another chapter. Let's go to Judges chapter 6. And the children of Israel did evil in the sight of Yahuwah. Did evil. And look what happens. Look at the sure results of doing evil as Israelites. And the Lord delivered them into the hands of the Midians 7 years. So one person was 20 years, now 7 years. And the hand of Midian prevailed against Israel. And because of the Midianites, the children of Israel made them dens which are in the mountains and caves and strongholds. And so it was when Israel had sown that the Midianites came up, and the Amalekites and the children of the east, even they came up against them, and they encamped against them and destroyed the increase of the earth until thou came unto Gaza and left the sustenance of Israel. So they cried out again in verse 7. And it came to pass when the children of Israel cried unto Yahuwah because of the Midianites, that the Lord sent a prophet unto the children of Israel. So why has there never been a prophet that's been sent to deliver all the so-called black people who are really Israelites? Why no deliverer has been sent for the whole nation? I want to tell you why. We ain't never cried out. We keep crying out for white Jesus, black Jesus. We're not crying out to Yehoshua, Yahuwah. We're not crying out to them. We're crying out to white mommy, white daddy, the NAACP, the Urban League, all kind of stupid stuff. The HBCs, black banks. We cry out to all kinds of National Action and Network, Nation of Islam. That's why no prophet has come up that can deliver us out of the hands of our enemies, to even give us liberation. When Martin Luther King was marching, he was marching as a black man. Hey, baby, how you doing? He was marching as a rainbow man. And you see, we ain't never got free. The grip is getting tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter on our necks. But anyway, I just wanted to stop by and just drop this word to you all. Y'all, stop doing stuff as black people and African Americans. Stop doing it. Pray as a Israelite. Pray as Yashraal, the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Pray as that. Curse your enemies, like the Bible says in Psalms 106, Psalms 149. Curse your enemies as Israelites, not as black people, African. No, the power is going to come from calling yourself after the name of your power, which is Yashraal, or Israel, a prince of the power, with Yahuwah and with man. We are the prince of the Most High in the earth, y'all. That's where our power is in our name. Who our name represents. You're not going to have no power as the NAACP. That's why white people own the NAACP, the Urban League, and all that stuff. But anyway, this is Prophet Raul, and I will be signing out. You all have a wonderful day, and shalom.
The drug pushing. I mean, you got people